Good morning and welcome to the All About Contact Centers webinar hosted by Intellect Solutions and Five9. This morning we'll have the pleasure of hearing from Alan Manuel, Intellect Solutions Senior Solutions Architect, and William Gainey, Five9's Director of Advanced Solutions. This webinar will be recorded, so all participants have been muted. We encourage you to submit questions in the Q&A section, the icon at the bottom right-hand side of your screen, and we'll allocate time at the end of the webinar to address them. So to get started, we're going to hear from both of you. We're interested to hear what the overall trends you're seeing in UCaaS and CCaaS are. Are customers making decisions together as a department or individually as separate departments? Alan, we'll hand it off to you first.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Carly, and welcome everyone to the webinar. I have been working on the business partner side for 20 plus years. So I think my perspective, comes from the business partner side and how I interact with customers in that way. William is gonna, when he shares his perspective, it's from the Five9, the manufacturer side. So I think you'll get a good take from both sides in what we're seeing, in today's market and the questions and things that are being asked from customers. So working from the, to answer that question, Carly, to start off, working from the business partner point of view, the number one trend I'm seeing today and talking to customers about seems to revolve around, how to improve agent efficiency and productivity. In the past, it seems customers would approach this more from their customer perspective. So they would ask about new features. It could be like adding a digital channel like SMS or chat, but it was always based on sort of what they felt their customer needed in their perspective. Now it seems that the conversation is always based on the agent perspective, from the customers that I'm talking to. And we could be talking about the same features as before, but it's based on that, the focus on how to empower the agent with more assistance, information, intelligence, all before, during, and after that call interaction, or perhaps that digital channel interaction. I'm seeing we do a lot in healthcare, but also other verticals. And, I'm seeing that keeping and retaining agents today for customers is expensive and difficult. Many contact centers are short on staff. Finding new agents that can step in and be productive right out of the gate is difficult. So if technologies can be added that can help, one good agent be more productive to do as much as 1.5 or even 2 agents, then that can really mean a lot. So some of the things we'll talk about today are different technologies that are being asked about to help what I just talked about, like virtual agent, before a call, agent assist, call summary to help with after call work, among other things. So I'll turn it over to William, to you now, and you probably have a lot to add to that.
Well, I mean, you're spot on. I mean, the plight of the contact center these days is specifically around agents and driving brand loyalty, right? Hiring is very difficult. It's hard to find folks that are talented. It's hard to retain those folks, especially if you don't have the tools. You're not enabling them for success. It's a tough job. And that therefore it's hard to keep up with the volume, and you have a lot of abandonment, and that's not a great customer experience. So, customer expectation is now higher than ever. People are demanding more channels. They're demanding, not to be able to speak to necessarily a person, but speak to technology to service their needs at whatever time they decide and whatever channel they decide. And if they do need to speak to an agent, they want to make sure that they're not repeating themselves, because if they get transferred to an agent, there's a problem, and getting resolution to that problem is key. So, you got long wait times, you got budget constraints, and technology is really helping out with that. And Gen AI is a piece of that. We are now having advanced bots that are, kind of human-like responses. We're able to increase our self-service complexity and use cases. And we're able to do it at a cost that is lower than ever before. Technology's made a lot of advancements. It's now very intuitive. You don't need a stable of programmers or developers in order to maintain or continue to create these use cases. And, omni-channel is becoming easier because of it. So just like you said, it's about improving customer experience, and that starts with improving agent experience and the pre-call, during call, and post-call transparency so that you understand the voice of the customer.
Very good.
Thank you. William, this next question is going to come for you. What trends are you seeing with AI in the contact centers? How does this impact executives' budgets, and what is the main driver for the investment?
Yeah, certainly. So if you were to look at, most of the surveys that are out there, whether it's Gartner or Forrester, and you were to poll your executives, they understand the explosive opportunities associated with AI. And nearly half of the executives have mentioned increasing their budgets by about 45% to stay relevant, right? It's all about being relevant. They also understand that they can grow revenue by 140% more than laggards in that space. Where they're really focusing on is a couple areas: better serving their customers, improving the customer ratings, making agents more efficient, and then it's generating revenue and saving money. Not always is saving money the number one focus, but with this transformation into cloud, with transformation into AI, consolidation of tools, there are significant ROIs, and sometimes those ROIs can justify, the entire project. And over time, you can see the benefits of brand loyalty, agent loyalty, retention, and it really makes a huge difference within the contact center, for sure.
William, just a quick follow-up on that, Carly. So, William, I don't know, not to put you on the spot, but when customers come to Five9, what are you seeing as one of the number one AI applications that they're asking about? Is there one that kind of is front and center for a lot of folks, or is it across the board depending on the vertical they're coming from, that kind of thing?
It depends on verticals. Typically, there's specific use cases that line up really well depending on if you're in healthcare, finance, or if you're a service industry. But there are some commonalities, right? It is, how do I take tasks that are repetitive and mundane and take them off of the burden of the agent, right? Let's let technology handle what technology is good at. Right? If you can deflect those calls in self-service, that could be an ID and verification. It could be intelligent routing, making sure someone gets to the place that they want to and they're not getting frustrated or zeroing out. Not, being able to check their balance or being able to book an appointment, being able to make a payment. Those things technology can handle really well. And then again, it's, once you get to an agent, making sure they have the tools, they understand what the journey has been for this person, right? They don't make them go through verification process again. They don't make them repeat themselves. And they are armed with, the tools to solve their problem based on the information that's provided. Let technology do what technology does best, handle those mundane tasks, and let humans do what they do best. That's problem solving, that's showing empathy. That's what we're seeing constantly in the contact center, and that's the perfect mix that we see.
Yeah, great point. I think you make a good point. I think what I've seen on my side, the virtual agent applications have sort of exploded, and they've done that around that, whether it's 20 or 25% of those more, easier mundane tasks that you can take out of an agent's hand and automate that. And there are use cases for every vertical. And I know that, Five9 and other manufacturers, they publish good, use cases on that. So I would encourage people to take a look at that and see. Sometimes you may not know, but if you start to look at some of those, it'll give you a lot of ideas of what would fit in your environment.
Absolutely. If you just think about the ID verification, that can take 60 to 90 seconds for an agent to do that. If you peel that off of the call time, right, that's an extraordinary savings when you look at it on an annual basis, right? So that's just one basic, example. But if you don't know, what's important with AI is you have a strategy, and working with partners that can come in and understand what are the best use cases for you. What is that crawl, walk, run strategy? That's a data-driven approach. That is the voice of the customer that says, these are the biggest intents. These are the biggest drivers of use cases that we can take off of the agent to help support them. And typically, those are the largest ROIs. So whether you're in your infancy of transformation, maybe you're still on-prem, doing an over-top solution that can provide you an ROI, dip your toe into getting AI, and then over time do a thoughtful migration, or you're looking at migrating all at once. It's really around having that strategy and having a partner you can trust that can replicate what they've done for year after year and have a data-driven approach that can provide you the KPI that you want to hit.
Great.
Thanks, guys. William, another question for you. What are you currently seeing with conversational versus generative AI, and how are the executives evaluating AI in the contact center, and what's important to them?
Yeah, it's interesting because you have technologies that are out there that people play with, like ChatGPT 3 and 4. And so, generative AI is still in kind of its infancy. There's some really strong use cases for it, like transcription, summarization, I think that you mentioned, Alan, as well as, developing frequently asked questions. But they're still kind of fluid from a regulatory perspective. And there's still some risk associated with it if you would go full on to utilize it in development. We've seen the horrors of hallucinations with, airlines and in the healthcare industry. So you really need to be careful of what use cases that you're using it to make sure that you're protecting yourself from legalities as well as from brand challenges. Typically what we see in the contact center from executives, they really want to understand 4 critical things, right? Is the technology embedded, right? And what I mean by embedded is it infused with the platform? Is it available at any time? And will it provide a ubiquitous experience throughout the customer journey? They don't want to get, solutions that are cobbled together that are based on M&A or that are third-party solutions that somehow break down during the customer journey, whether that's reporting or whether that's passing information to the agent, which we all talked about the value of. The other thing that they want to look at is it practical? How easy it is to stand up? Is it intuitive? Can I make the changes, or do I need a resource? Again, we don't want programmers. We don't want developers. We want ease of use so that, customers can look at things with kind of like an Apple store, right? It is kind of, you download the app. It's just drag and a click. It's easy to set up and easy to manage, so you don't have to be an expert. The other thing is they want to ensure that over time, the technology is going to adapt. And being engine agnostic really is important when making an investment, because you don't lock into a proprietary technology, right? At the same time, As technology evolves, you can insert those use cases, those engines, those solutions into the stack, and essentially you're continually staying on top of technology. You can get better customer experience and financial savings in perpetuity. So people do like the fact of working with companies that they can choose what technology is the right technology for them as their needs change over time. They have that flexibility. And working with companies like the Googles, the Amazons, the IBMs, the open AIs, provide them a couple of things. They provide them the lift of working with, innovators that can take advantage of, the latest advancements, gigantic budgets, and the world's, top R&D talent. Finally, what they want is responsible AI. So they want to make sure that, their solutions are PCI or HIPAA compliant. They want to make sure that there's policies in place to protect their brands and their customers and their data. So they want to make sure that, companies aren't using their data downstream to improve their models or somehow use it in different ways over time. They really want a transparent process, and they don't want to lock into a technology if regulatory positions change that put them in an uncompromising situation. So those are typically the four things that we see when people are evaluating, at least AI solutions in the contact center.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Looking at the time, we wanted to check for any questions that came over. We did receive a few, so I'm going to give the first one to start with Alan, and William, feel free after he's done to jump in. It's been great information so far, but where do I get started?
Sure. So I would, encourage you to, kind of get educated. There are lots of ways to get educated on, current trends, capabilities. A lot of webinars like this that you can attend that Five9 offers, or other manufacturers for that matter. Reading case studies. There's lots of case studies that are done on different verticals. So there are a lot of good opportunities to do these things. And then I would encourage you to talk to your local business partner. A lot of times they know the most about your current system. Many folks are moving from traditional call centers, voice only, that are on premise. So I would encourage you to talk to those, to the local partner, to see what the options are. And then a great thing to do is to begin to build a list of requirements and things that you need for your next gen contact center solution. So, making a list of those must-haves and those nice to have things. And to do that, you really need to talk to, move beyond the IT groups and talk to the call center, business groups and the other business units within the organization. Yeah. So those are great things to do before you start maybe a formal process, because then once you do that with someone, it'll help you to kind of navigate toward those things that are most important.
Yeah, Alan, I couldn't agree with you. Everybody's situation is a little bit different, and you don't want to just purchase based on being in the box. You really want to understand, what do you want in your new solution? What types of KPIs are you trying to hit? What's important? And then it really is, a consulting engagement to understand, overall, what's the best fit for your business. Having that strategy, whether it's a phased approach or, whether it's, just a continue, like a continuous move. What's the best for your business? And there's plenty of resources out there. There's plenty of information. And obviously, both of our companies are happy to help.
You can also, we've had lots of customers, start small. They've taken one contact center group and they've, moved it to a cloud-based solution or moved it to the new solution first. the nature of these solutions, they're over the top, so they can fit with any existing solution that you have now for a PBX or a call center. And they can route, and we can transfer calls over the top through the PSTN, and there are other options as well. But, we find a lot of people will start with a segment, and then before they go full blown, depending on your size and things like that.
Yeah, totally agree. We see that a lot with, companies that might have contracts for, another 24 months, but they want to start making sure that they have an edge on their competition, that they are starting that transformation process, and they're realizing the ROI. So, essentially when they purchase a new solution, the thought is they've already demonstrated a strong past performance, and that makes it a lot easier to move the rest of the organization.
Right.
Thank you, guys. Last question. Are there any tips or tricks, helpful antidotes for discussing when they're thinking about moving onto a cloud platform?
I think best way is you have resources that are out there. So, utilize them, bring in your vendors, understand, what a strategy would look like, for your specific company, and, kind of look at what the potential, challenges are, as well as, some of the benefits, and you kind of weigh it out. There's a tremendous amount of information. Technologies moved at a very rapid pace. Things these days are very intuitive and easy. So it's just about understanding, what your environment looks like, and designing a plan specifically for you to mitigate any potential challenges and to ensure, a strong outcome.
Yeah, and I would say that a lot of times what I'll see as one of the bigger mistakes that can be made is overlooking sort of the project part, the professional services part. Like a lot of the technology is very good. It's the getting there that if you don't plan it out right, then it can, and you struggle with that, then you have a bad taste in your mouth for the technology. So I would say, make sure that you have a very solid, scope of work from your partner and manufacturer. The other thing I would say, there's different license tiers with different features and things. You're going to want to make sure, just what you heard in a sales presentation. Sometimes, make sure that is actually in your final bill of materials, your final license tier that you're receiving. Those types of things are important. And the type of project is different than what it used to be. Most of it now is in the consulting, like William said, the consulting part, the planning part. Those are, that's very important in sort of the getting there and making sure you have a successful project.
Great.
Well, thank you, guys. Our time is up for today. And if anyone has any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out via email. And then we can set up any other meetings afterwards. Thank you both for hosting with us. And
Thank you.
have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.